Hi guys, my name is Holly Sansom. Welcome to the beginning of your nursing career. I've been a nurse now for 3 years and I've done a variety of things. I was first a med-surg nurse for a year, then I began to travel for almost 2 years. There I worked in the ICU and the cardiac step-down unit. Now I'm an ER nurse. Today I want to talk about nursing, how it's defined, and how it uses theory, research, science, and art. Also, how it requires a nursing leader to bring the team together as a whole. Nursing is described as many different things: a profession, a discipline, and a science. But what do these things mean? We must first answer the simplest of questions. What do these words mean? A profession is a vocation or occupation that requires specialized knowledge, skills, scientific method, and values based on research and is taught in an institute of higher education. I think it is safe to say that nursing would be indeed considered a profession. Next, we have nursing as a discipline. A discipline is defined as a branch of knowledge or a field of study. Nursing has been a field of study in over 700 colleges and universities. So again, I believe this is a true definition. Last, we have nursing as a science. A science is a unified body of knowledge in which phenomena are observed, identified, described, and investigated. We have learned in the theory of nursing class that different periods of research explored different things such as phenomena and why and how things worked the way they did. Nursing has a body of knowledge that is practiced in many different settings. Those settings would include in the home, the nursing homes, and the hospitals. The moral of telling you this is that nursing is all of these things. It's not just one, it's all. This then leads us to research and reasoning. In our book, Theory and Reasoning in Nursing, by Betty Johnson and Pamela Weber, it talks about skills for building a theory-based nursing practice. In the 10th chapter, it states that as you build a practice based on theory and clinical knowledge, you benefit from developing intellectual skills, such as observation, intuition, questioning, comparing, and contrasting. Let's talk about these skills more in depth. Observation will be one of the most important skills you develop. When developing a more in-depth observation skill, you notice things like purposeful observation, which deals with patient care, but also nursing care and nursing outcomes. From the second you enter a patient's room, you begin to observe. You see their skin color, how their breathing rate and effort may be. From the first patient you encounter throughout your career, you will build on these observation skills. This builds on to intuition. As a new nurse, you will see things other nurses do just because they know what's wrong with the patient from a simple observation or by just being told what's going on with the patient. This comes with time, but it is their intuition that is leading this. You will develop better questioning skills. If at any point of your nursing career you stop asking questions and think that you know all the answers, then you should step away from nursing. Instead of basic questions, when you throw theory into the mix, then your questions become more complex and begin to search for a deeper issue or a deeper meaning. Instead of starting questions with what, you begin to start the questions with why, how, and what if. These are ways the questions begin to become more complex. Comparing and contrasting again fall back onto the observation skills you first developed. You compare patients to each other. you compare patients' cases to each other. Sometimes the care will be similar, but sometimes the care will not work for one patient that worked for the other. No patient is alike. You must have a good nursing leader that is well seasoned in all these skills. Without this leader, then things may seem to fall apart. Look for those seasoned nurses and learn from them. Let them teach you how they care and take parts of all your encounters. You will then build your own skills. In my own practice, I have used these skills without even knowing it. Nursing is all about caring and compassion. As a Christian nurse, we use our compassion to give care and to comfort those, but we also bring God to them. I had a patient that was about to be discharged, and I had a t-shirt on that had a Bible verse. He asked me if I was a sister of the church, and I told him yes. He began to tell me that he too was a Christian, and we talked about God for a while. As a professional in nursing, this was establishing a rapport with this patient in hopes to care for him better and to make his stay as pleasant as possible. As a minister in nursing, I was caring for his spirit by sharing the Word of God with each other. This patient seemed to have the same worldview as I did, but you could tell that it brightened his spirit talking about how good God was. This is something Christian nurses, new or old, should strive for. Nursing can be one of the most stressful but rewarding professions there is. Some days you may feel like giving up and just not doing it anymore. But then you come in contact with one patient that makes you realize that what nursing is all about. In the ER, you see anything from a drug addict to a feeble old person that is truly sick. Those drug addicts that you don't see eye to eye with, those are the ones who you must show God's grace and mercy for the most. Everyone deserves God's love, but as a Christian nurse, you can minister to those who are living in sin. You can let your light shine and possibly save a soul just by being a caring nurse that talked about Jesus and God with a patient. I have one more example to talk about. When I was in Texas, I was working one night in the ICU, and there was a younger girl that tried to commit suicide. When talking to her, you would have never dreamed that she did that kind of thing, but she did. I got a chance to talk with her and what had led her to the decision to end her life. We talked about her family, her husband, her children, and she explained that she was a preacher's daughter. She explained that she had grew up around the Word, and that somewhere down the road she had lost her way and strayed from God's path. This is where it gets good. She asked me to pray for her when I prayed, and of course, I told her I would. Then I asked her if she wanted me to pray with her. She declined, and I respected her wishes. But every single time I went into that room, you could feel a different presence. You could see God working with her heart in ways He hadn't in a long time. That is what I strive to do as a Christian nurse. I want to let my light shine to people who need it the most, and I do this out of caring, listening, and simply talking to the patient. I have seen nurses who have lost this care. At some point, a nurse will become burnout, but you have to move past it. You have to find care somewhere, or nursing is not the profession you need to be in anymore. I will end with this. In the book called Called to Care, it gives a definition of Christian nursing. This definition reads, Christian nursing is a ministry of compassionate care for the whole person in response to God's grace towards a sinful world, which aims to foster optimum health and bring comfort in suffering and death to anyone in need. We, as Christian nurses, are to show patients the same love and grace God has shown us. This will make us better nurses and more caring nurses in the end. Thank you very much.